All right, welcome back, everyone. Ready to dive deep. Today, we're zeroing in on something pretty special, something just for you.
Yeah.
We're talking Energy Assessor interview prep.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting ready for that big interview,
Yeah.
so this deep dive is going to be your secret weapon.
Yeah.
We're going to unpack some seriously good stuff.
Yeah.
So, with us, we've got the ultimate guide to becoming an energy assessor thanks to RoleCatcher.
Yep.
We've got their career guide.
Yep.
And we've also got their interview guide. We're going to use all this great info to tackle, well, I guess, the tough questions that you're likely to face.
Exactly.
And we'll sprinkle in some career insights along the way.
Yeah.
So, you can really stand out, show off your passion.
For sure.
And we'll even show you how RoleCatcher's AI can give you a real edge in this process. But before we jump into, the hot seat,
Yeah.
let's set the stage a little bit. Expert speaker, help us out here. What is it that an energy assessor, actually does? What makes this such a, sought-after career right now?
So energy assessors, they're basically the detectives of the building world, right?
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. They go on site, they figure out how energy efficient a building is,
Yeah.
and then they produce these things called EPCs.
Yep.
Energy performance certificates. These certificates basically grade the building's energy use.
I see.
They're the ones who help homeowners, businesses save money, lower that carbon footprint, all that good stuff.
So, sustainability is kind of, baked into this job.
Totally.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And with all the focus on, climate change, sustainability, energy efficiency,
Right.
I have to imagine that the demand for energy assessors is just, skyrocketing.
You're absolutely right. I mean, it's a booming field right now. Governments are setting stricter standards. Businesses are looking for, ways to cut costs and be more sustainable,
Yeah.
which means
Yeah.
for you, the job market is looking pretty good.
It's a good time to be an energy assessor.
Exactly.
But of course, you got to nail that interview to get there.
Yeah.
That's where, RoleCatcher comes in.
Yeah.
They've got a bunch of sample interview questions that we're going to dig into.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's tackle some of the, the toughest ones head on.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, first up, I'm reading right from RoleCatcher here. They say, can you explain your experience with energy assessments? Now, I'm already thinking, what if I'm fresh out of school?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or I don't have a ton of hands-on experience yet.
I think that's a really common concern.
Right.
And it's where you have to get a little creative,
Yeah.
Even without direct experience, going out and doing those full assessments.
Mm-hmm.
You've got knowledge. You've got to showcase that knowledge.
Okay, so it's spin it,
Yeah, exactly. So think back. Have you done any energy audits? Maybe in a class or something.
Right.
Are you familiar with any of the energy modeling software?
Oh, yeah.
Leave those into your answer. Show them that you understand the process.
I get it.
Even if you haven't done it a ton in the real world,
Yeah.
you get the idea.
That makes sense. And, after you kind of give that initial answer, what kind of follow-up questions should people be ready for, just to stay one step ahead?
Oh, yeah. Good question.
Yeah.
They might ask about a specific project, like something you've actually worked on.
Okay.
And be prepared to explain how you would approach it, the tools you'd use,
Yep.
how you'd handle any challenges that come up.
Mhm.
It's all about thinking on your feet and problem solving, right?
Okay. So brush up on those problem-solving skills,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. All right, next question from RoleCatcher,
Mhm.
and I actually like this one. How do you stay up to date with the latest energy efficiency technologies and trends? I actually enjoy reading about this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Does that count?
Absolutely. It shows, you're genuinely interested in this field.
Oh, okay.
You're passionate and you're proactive. So mention things like industry publications you read, conferences you might have attended. Maybe you're part of some online forums where you're, chatting with experts. And if there's a specific technology that you're really excited about,
Yeah.
don't hold back. Let that passion show.
Say, for example, I'm really into smart thermostats,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they have huge potential
Exactly.
for energy saving. Can I talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. That kind of enthusiasm, it makes you memorable. Okay, let's move on to a more practical question. This one's, can you walk me through your process for conducting an energy assessment?
Ooh, that's a good one. That one feels like a mini exam.
Right.
It's show me what you've got.
Exactly.
So how do you tackle that without just turning it into a boring lecture?
Yeah, think of it like telling a story. The story of how you approach an assessment. Start by talking about, gathering information about the building. Then walk them through the on-site visit, what you're looking for, the data collection, and then, of course, the analysis.
Okay, so kind of break it down into those steps.
Right.
And then just explain each step.
Mm-hmm.
And what would you say are some, like, key things to mention?
Definitely talk about specific tools, like a blower door test for checking air leakage,
Yeah, yeah.
or infrared cameras for, insulation issues.
Ooh, infrared cameras.
Mm-hmm.
I knew those were good for more than just ghost hunting.
Right.
Okay, so get into the nitty-gritty.
Exactly.
And then what kind of follow-up questions might they ask after, you give them the whole rundown?
They could really dig into a specific step.
Okay.
They might ask something like, how do you determine the right sample size for data collection?
Oh, interesting.
Or what happens if the reported energy use doesn't match your findings?
Mm-hmm.
Be prepared to explain your reasoning behind each step.
It's like you got to, defend your process.
Exactly.
Okay, so be prepared to think on your feet.
Right. Be ready.
Okay, cool. All right, next question. And this one's getting a little, philosophical.
Yeah.
RoleCatcher says, what do you consider to be the biggest challenge facing energy assessors today? And I don't know why, but that feels like a trap.
It can be if you're not ready for it.
Okay, yeah.
They're not looking for complaints.
No.
They want insight.
Right.
So choose a challenge that you've genuinely thought about.
Okay.
Maybe it's keeping up with all the new technologies.
There's always something new.
Right. Or maybe it's communicating complex findings to clients in a way that they can understand and act on.
Oh, that's a good one.
Those are just examples, but, show them that you're thinking about the big picture.
Yeah.
Not just focus on, checking boxes.
Just like I go in, I get the data, and I leave.
Right, exactly.
You're thinking about, what are the challenges that this field is facing?
Mm-hmm.
And how can I be a part of, overcoming them?
Exactly.
That's cool. Okay, so we've talked about the challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's talk about, maybe some of the people you're going to encounter. Thinking about those clients, right?
Yeah.
RoleCatcher asks, how do you approach communicating energy assessment findings to clients who may be resistant to making energy-saving changes?
Mm.
And I'm picturing, someone who's just like, I don't want to change anything. I'm doing things my way.
Yeah, that's definitely a tough one.
That feels like a tough conversation.
But remember, you're not just delivering data, you're building a relationship with that client.
Right.
So you got to tailor your communication to their concerns. Are they worried about the upfront costs? Are they skeptical of the savings? You need to address those directly.
So really listen.
Yes. And use real-world examples to illustrate your points.
Right, because if you just come at them with well, the data says...
Exactly.
They're going to tune you out.
Yeah, and don't forget, a little bit of empathy goes a long way.
So you're part energy expert,
Mm-hmm.
part therapist.
Sometimes, yeah, it feels that way.
That's funny. Okay, let's get back to, the technical stuff for a second.
Mm-hmm.
This question from RoleCatcher is all about data.
Right.
How do you ensure the accuracy and reliability of energy assessment data?
Mm-hmm.
That sounds pretty intense.
Yeah, accuracy is everything in this field.
Yeah, for sure.
So walk them through your quality control process.
Mm-hmm.
Do you double check your calculations?
Yeah.
Do you calibrate your instruments regularly?
Mm-hmm.
Do you use industry standard software?
Got it.
All of that shows that you're serious about getting it right.
Okay, and that you're not just cutting corners.
Exactly. And don't forget to mention any ongoing professional development you're doing.
Yeah.
That shows you're committed to staying on top of your game.
Okay, so, if I took a course,
Mm-hmm.
or if I'm, constantly learning new stuff, I should mention that.
Absolutely.
Got it. All right, last question for this round.
Okay.
And it's, how do you evaluate the success of an energy efficiency project? I feel like this one is testing whether you understand the impact of your work.
Yeah, it's not just about completing the assessment, right?
In
It's
fact-
about making sure those recommendations actually make a difference in the real world.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so how would you approach answering that question?
Well, you want to talk about tracking energy consumption.
So before and after.
Exactly. Before and after you implement the recommendations. You can also mention using key performance indicators or KPIs
Okay.
to measure how well you're doing.
And is client satisfaction a factor in all this too?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool.
So it's a full circle approach.
Right.
You're not just gathering data, you're making sure it leads to real results.
That's awesome.
And happy clients.
And happy clients.
Yeah.
All right, so we've talked about how to answer
Mm-hmm.
some really tough interview questions.
Yeah.
But we're just getting started.
Oh, we are?
We've got to talk about how to leverage AI
Oh, yeah.
to really take your prep to the next level.
Right.
Stay with us. We'll be right back after a quick break.
I'm really glad you brought up the results part because it shows that you're not just going through the motions, you're really invested in making those buildings better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And speaking of making things better, remember we talked about RoleCatcher's AI earlier?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not just for finding jobs. It can actually help you fine-tune your answers to these very questions we're talking about.
It's true. It's like having a coach in your pocket, analyzing your responses, pointing out where you can improve.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold on, slow down. So you're saying it can, like, give me feedback on my answers before I even, step foot in the interview room?
Exactly. It takes all the guesswork out of interview prep and helps you feel more confident.
That's pretty awesome.
It even analyzes video rehearsals, helping you with delivery, body language, all that.
Wow, it's like a virtual interview simulator.
Basically.
That's really cool. So while we're diving deep into all these questions, keep in mind that RoleCatcher's AI can really help you polish those answers.
It's a game changer.
Okay, back to the interview questions. This next one from RoleCatcher is all about prioritizing recommendations.
Okay.
They ask, how do you prioritize energy-saving recommendations for clients? It's like playing, energy-saving Tetris.
I love that analogy.
You got to figure out which blocks fit where.
Exactly. There are so many potential upgrades, but you got to present a plan that works for the client.
Right. So what are some, key things to keep in mind when you're prioritizing all these different recommendations?
Cost effectiveness is huge.
Okay.
You want to highlight the measures that give the biggest energy savings for the least amount of money.
Got it. The biggest bang for their buck.
Exactly. And ease of implementation matters too.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Swapping out light bulbs is a lot easier than installing like a geothermal heating system.
True.
So start with the low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, don't overwhelm them right away.
Right, exactly.
Okay, that's good advice. Now, this next question is your chance to get creative. RoleCatcher asks, can you give an example of a time when you had to think outside the box to find a solution to an energy efficiency problem?
I love this one.
I do too, because it lets you show off your problem-solving skills.
It's a great way to stand out, show them what you're made of.
Okay, so, what kind of examples should people use?
Pick something where you faced a unique challenge, maybe a weird building layout, or a client with really specific needs.
Okay.
Walk them through your thought process.
Okay.
How did you approach the problem? What did you do differently?
And don't forget to highlight the outcome.
Of course. You want to show them that your creative thinking led to real results.
Exactly. They want to see that you can actually deliver.
Mm.
All right, so we talked about problem solving. Now let's go back to those, sometimes challenging clients.
Okay.
RoleCatcher asks, how do you approach working with clients who may be resistant to making energy-saving changes?
It happened.
It does. It does. And
Yeah.
it takes, I imagine, a certain, finesse.
You could say that. The key is understanding their concerns. Are they worried about the cost? Do they doubt the savings?
Yeah.
Once you know what's holding them back, you can tailor your approach.
So it's about, meeting them where they are.
Exactly. You can use real-world examples, show them the data. A little bit of humor can go a long way, too.
Yeah, break the ice.
Yeah.
All right, back to the technical side of things. This one from RoleCatcher is all about data integrity.
All right.
They ask, how do you ensure the accuracy and reliability of energy assessment data?
It's an important one.
Yeah, attention to detail is critical here.
Absolutely. Walk them through your process for quality control.
Okay.
How do you double-check your calculations? How do you make sure your instruments are calibrated? Do you use specific software programs to guarantee data integrity?
It's like you're a data detective,
In a way.
making sure all the pieces fit together. And speaking of detectives, this next question feels like a case study. RoleCatcher asks, how do you evaluate the success of an energy efficiency project? It's about making sure your recommendations actually made a difference in the real world.
It's about going beyond the initial assessment. You need to track the long-term impact.
Okay, so how do you do that?
You can talk about measuring energy consumption before and after you implement those recommendations.
Right, like the before and after photos.
Exactly. You can also mention using KPIs to track your progress
Right.
and see if you're hitting your goals.
And what if the results aren't what you expected?
That's when you put your analytical skills to work. You need to figure out why was there something wrong with the initial assessment? Were the recommendations not fully implemented?
That's a good point.
Being able to identify those roadblocks, it shows that you're not just focused on checking boxes, but on achieving real outcomes.
It's about accountability
Mm.
and continuous improvement.
Exactly.
And speaking of improvement, remember, RoleCatcher's AI can really help you refine your answers to these questions, giving you feedback on your content, your delivery, even your body language. Okay, last question for this round, and it's all about staying ahead of the curve.
Right. It's like they're asking, are you just clocking in and out, or are you really passionate about this field?
It's about showing them that you're in it for the long haul.
Exactly. So don't just give a generic answer. Be specific. Talk about the industry publications you read, the conferences you've attended, the online communities you're a part of.
And if there's a cool new technology that you're really excited about, now's your chance to geek out a little.
Absolutely. Let that enthusiasm shine through. Okay. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the technical stuff to how to talk to clients. But before we wrap up, I want to zoom out a bit and talk about the bigger picture of being an energy assessor.
Yeah, beyond just acing the interview, what's it actually like to work in this field? What kind of career paths are out there?
Well, first of all, it's a career with a real purpose. You're making a difference. You're helping create a more sustainable future. And as the demand for energy efficiency keeps growing, so do the opportunities for energy assessors.
We talked about the job market earlier, but are there different directions you can go within this field?
Definitely. You could specialize in a particular type of building, like residential or commercial, or you could focus on a specific technology, like solar panels or geothermal. There's even a growing need for energy assessors who can consult on those big energy efficiency projects.
So there's room for both specialists and generalists. And what about certifications? RoleCatcher mentions a few in their career guide.
Certifications are key. They show you have the expertise. Some are required depending on where you work, while others give you an edge in the job market. Do your research, figure out which ones align with your goals.
It's all about staying ahead of the curve, right? Both in terms of technology and your own professional development. And remember, RoleCatcher's AI can help you tailor your resume and cover letter to highlight those certifications and skills that employers are looking for.
It's a huge help. Okay, before we sign off, I want to leave you with a thought-provoking question. Something to think about as you start your journey in this field.
I like where this is going.
What's an emerging energy efficiency technology that really excites you? And how do you think it's going to shape the future of buildings and energy use?
Ooh, that's a good one. It reminds us that this field is always evolving. There's always something new to discover and explore. And on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive.
We have.
We hope you feel ready to rock that interview.
You've got the knowledge, you've got the skills, and now you've got the confidence.
Remember, be yourself. Let your passion shine through, and don't be afraid to show off what makes you unique.
Go out there and make the world a little greener, one assessment at a time.
Until next time, happy assessing.